Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Solvay Empowering You webinar. We are very excited to be here with a lot of members from around the nation, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, Alaska. We've got folks from all over the continental United States, and we are excited that tonight this is a much anticipated topic that we have talked about, we've been excited about, and tonight finally it is here. And I am excited this evening. My name is Stacy Wallace. I'm a social executive with Solvay and excited tonight to let you know that tonight's topic on the Empowering You webinar is engaging and enrolling nonprofit organizations. Now, this is a topic I know that is near and dear to many people's hearts. And I've had so many folks saying, Stacy, when are we going to be able to sign up those nonprofits? Of course, we've had a lot of conversations from some of the top leaders across Solvay and the Solvay network about what are the best practices, how are you approaching the nonprofits, what's working, what's not working. And I recognize tonight that we have got a packed out webinar full of people, and many of you are listening thinking, man, I've got a nonprofit that I absolutely love, and I would love to see them benefit from Solvay and Solvay's value proposition. Well, tonight, hopefully we're going to be able to answer some of those questions as well as provide a great tutorial that you can review and go back to on our website at empoweredliving.biz/webinars so that you can tap in and see the replay of this once it's over. Now, tonight we are going to cover a number of topics, and I'm going to just give you an overview of what you can expect in tonight's webinar on engaging and enrolling nonprofit organizations. Now, you may see throughout the slides, we call that NPOs. You'll also hear that term relatively when you're speaking to any folks in our legal department as well as in our support. NPO stands for nonprofit organizations. What we want to cover tonight is very simple. We're going to talk about enrolling NPOs into Solvay. What are the step-by-step guidelines that you need to follow in order to do that? How do you engage an NPO? In other words, what is some of the languaging? How do you talk to leaders of nonprofit organizations? What are some marketing tips and tools that folks are using that is being successful? And should I go after nonprofit organizations? We're going to answer that question. And then what are the vision presentation slides? What are some of the different slides that are being used? There's some differentiations that you make sure you want to use when you're presenting to a nonprofit. We're going to share those with you, as well as creative solutions that right now you can tap into even tonight as you begin to approach other nonprofit organizations. Now, let's start with the conversation about fundraising for nonprofits. Many of you have seen some of these types of campaigns where maybe you've got your kids who come home with a penny jar. I know that that's been happening this year with my kids. They've actually had little pink piggy banks that they've brought home, and please bring your change and give donations to the food bank. Nonprofits are always looking for ways to raise money. As you can see there on the right, that's a very standard, what they call a value card, where they've gone out and they've gotten partnerships with places like Sonic or Kentucky Fried Chicken, Papa John Pizza, where you can use that card for a discount just based on just the people that are on that card, and sometimes a few others. Well, what you're going to find is that where Solvay is and where Solvay is headed is not only a great idea for fundraising, but it's also a fantastic idea that'll move the conversation away from how can I create fundraising programs to how can I create sustainability. Sustainability is a word you probably want to write down right now because it is a keyword that nonprofits look for. Having been in the nonprofit world my entire life, my father, my grandfather, both were ministers. My father was the founder of a major nonprofit organization that worked with pastors and ministers all over the world, as well as constantly raising funds for major national and international nonprofit organizations. And we want to talk about how Solvay is a really great program for sustainability. What we want to look at first off is, why is Solvay a great solution for nonprofits? Well, we like to look at it this way. And those of you who are listening, you're probably already a member of Solevay, so you already understand the value proposition as it relates to individuals. And basically, for every 3 people, they're going to save money by only spending $49 a month for unlimited voice, text, data. Now, we're not asking people to go buy something extra. We're actually just asking them to think smarter and be better stewards, another keyword, of their finances by saving money every month by shifting or switching to Solevay. When 3 people switch to Solevay services, Solevay is then going to take $20 a month and give it back to, in this case, we're talking about a 501c3, nonprofits. Well, what does that do? Well, the people win. They're only paying $49 a month. Solevay wins because it's really what their entire economic engine is built upon, is making commerce less expensive and even profitable. And now we are showing you a way that you could either put your name in there, whether there's 501c3, or in this instance, where we're talking about how we can benefit nonprofit organizations, $20 a month will be given to the nonprofit of choice based upon every 3 people that personally switch through that nonprofit organization. What does that make it? It's a win for the people, it's a win for Solevay, and it's a win for these charities and nonprofit organizations that we also passionately care about. Now, we're going to go into more detail on that in just a few minutes. What I would like to do first is take you through some of the legalities, some of the technical requirements that it takes in order to enroll a nonprofit organization. Now, first thing is, you want to make sure, if you are engaging in a nonprofit organization, that you go to support.solevay.com/docs/DOC-2881. But what I want to do first is I want to walk you through some of the guidelines and instructions that you will find there. Now, that's a very long document, and it is very, very important that you follow that document to a T. Right now, obviously, Solevay wanted to see nonprofits benefit. We, the people, we have been very vocal. We've let our voice be heard. Please let us enroll nonprofits. In the process of doing so, it's very important that you know that this is a manual process that Solevay does specifically for nonprofits. And that is why it's so important for us to follow these guidelines and instructions to a T. And there's some things I'm going to show you that are very important for you to note. First off, Solevay supports single member LLC conversions. Now, there's a form that you will fill out and email or fax in to actually request to change a new member to a 501c3, and that's attached to the policy. But I think it's important for everyone to note there are some best practices that we're going to show you that I think are going to make it even smoother. Number one, Solevay supports single member LLC conversions. What does that mean? A nonprofit organization can only have a total of 6 accounts. Now, that can be a combination of EINs, but it may not exceed 6 total accounts. And what this means basically is a husband and wife are both Solevay members, let's say, and let's say they both have separate accounts. Because these accounts are in their individual Social Security numbers, they cannot combine both of their accounts into one EIN. Only one Social Security to one EIN. Hope that makes sense. That is a big, big question that continues to go through member support, is can we combine our Social Security numbers so that we can move it into one EIN? The answer is no. Solevay supports single member LLC conversions. Now, the next thing is when we talk about taxation and liabilities, Solevay is going to treat nonprofit organizations exactly the same as any other member. Solevay systems, they're not able to provide a nonprofit organization with any type of special tax treatments. So what that means is there's not going to be any change in taxes from a consumer account under a Social Security number to a 501c3 account under an EIN. Basically, standard taxes are still going to apply. Now, the nonprofit organization has to agree in writing that they're going to pay all the taxes for services from Solevay the same way that an individual Solevay member would pay as well. So that's something very important to note as you are considering enrolling an NPO. What this means is basically same taxation applies to nonprofit organizations as it does an individual Solevay member. Okay? Nonprofit organizations must designate an authorized officer. That's basically somebody that's going to act on behalf of the organization. Now, what this means is basically only one person will have access to make changes to the account in Solevay on behalf of the nonprofit organization. They're going to be listed as what they call the billing name in Solevay's system. So the designated authorized officer doesn't have to have ownership of the nonprofit organization. They can be appointed by the leaders of that nonprofit to actually handle the account. But there has to be a designated authorized officer of a nonprofit organization as it is in the Solevay system. Okay, nonprofit accounts cannot be transferred to a minor. I think that's self-explanatory. Should I start a new account or should I try to convert account for our nonprofit organization? I encourage you to start a new account with that EIN and build it fresh. The reason for this, one of the main reason is that the username in my Solevay cannot be changed. It cannot be transferred. And if you start building under a nonprofit organization in a name like 49er Free or Get Free Mobile or something else, or even your name, you want to make sure that it is a name that has been approved by that nonprofit organization and that it is clean for that nonprofit organization as well. Again, usernames cannot be transferred and they cannot be changed. Once you got a username, that's it. So make sure when you're setting up a nonprofit organization that you help them choose wisely because it's going to represent their nonprofit organization in the community as well. Finally, should our nonprofit organization be a social member with service or a social member without service? The answer to that is you could be either. A nonprofit organization can set itself up as either an SMS or an SMO. Now, you're going to note that one thing that's very important when we say nonprofit organization, we're talking about predominantly 501c3 nonprofit organizations. You can choose to be an SMS or an SMO. However, it is a strong recommendation that you make a nonprofit organization an SMO. And here's why. That way they don't ever have to worry about, unless they're going to be on some type of auto pay, that way they don't ever have to worry about being suspended and having delayed payments. So that is one of the only examples that I would say a social member without service could be beneficial unless, in fact, there is going to be a phone on auto pay that will consistently pay. Now, with over 60,000 members that have joined my network, I've seen it a lot. Really, really good people who have built great organizations and for whatever reason did not go on auto pay and just accidentally forgot to pay by the midnight hour at the end of the month. I get a call the next day. I haven't gotten paid. They said, Stacy, I still haven't gotten paid. It's 3 o'clock. I still haven't gotten paid. And I finally had the company do research, and lo and behold, they decided they would pay the next morning. Well, the snapshot that is taken for pay to go on those pay cards is taken at 11:59 at the end of the month in that particular setting. Unfortunately, he paid the next morning. So when they took the snapshot, they saw him as inactive. He had not paid his bill. So he had to wait an entire pay cycle before he actually got paid that money. So in order to support the nonprofit organizations, if they're not on auto pay, they need to be SMO. And that way they ensure that those funds, nonprofit organizations, they rely on these funds on a monthly basis. And what we're about to show you is a way that Solevay truly can be a blessing to your favorite charities and nonprofits of choice. And we want to be able to see that take place, but there are some things you want to keep in mind because there's a lot of people and a lot of lives and a lot of programs that are in the balance. So what I'd like to do now is I want to bring on, before we go into some of the marketing ideas and languaging, John and I have spent a lot of time for many, many years dealing with nonprofits. John was also a very dear friend of our family for many years in ministry, in other nonprofits, a graduate of ORU, having worked tremendously with hundreds and hundreds of nonprofit organizations. And right now, has been very successful in signing up. I think today, even of itself, signed up another 3 nonprofits, but he just has a list of nonprofit organizations that have seen the value in what Solevay is doing. Now, one of the things in introducing John, he is a social networker, has a solid network with Solevay, but more importantly, John is an incredible father of 2 precious children they've adopted. He's an incredible husband and just a man after God's own heart, loves people, loves serving. And some of the ideas we're going to talk about tonight, we have literally, he and I went without sleep last night. He's in Oklahoma, I'm in Washington, in order to make sure that this presentation today would give you guys the value that you need, as well as a couple of tools that we believe will either give you great ideas or actually be resources that you can tap into immediately free that will support your business. And John, we are so very, very, very honored to have you on this evening. I count it a privilege every time I get to speak with you, and a privilege every time I get to hear about those precious kids of yours and what God is doing in their lives and through your lives to so many people. So let me just see, John, are you with us this evening?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Well, John, I know that this is a topic of great love and joy to your heart and mine and so many others. I see the Pickets on here. I see Donna Wirch on the line. We've got hundreds and hundreds of people right now listening in. And I'm just looking through the list right now of people in the control panel. And it just touches my heart because I see so many that are already, they're supporters of nonprofit organizations, ministries, orphanages all over the world, and truly have a heart to see Solevay do something brilliant for these nonprofits. John, I've got a list of topics and questions that I think you and I are going to be able to run through that hopefully will provide benefit. But first off, just tell us, what is your story with Solevay and why are you so passionate about nonprofit organizations?
Well, thank you, Stacy. It's an honor to be on here tonight with you, and especially over the years talking with your dad and your mom and you guys about ministry nonprofits and funding them. It's literally tonight is kind of a dream come true, a realization of a 20-year process that I've walked through of fulfilling a vision to help fund ministries and nonprofits. I've had my own 501c3. I've been staff and a pastor of a church, as a pastor of a church. Worked with numerous nonprofits and also in the business arena the last 15 years as a financial advisor and helping a lot of ministries deal with debt and financial challenges, and I've seen firsthand the need for income and for support. I grew up in ministry. Our family had a retreat center, and one of the major issues we had was the lack of financing, which caused a lot of tough times in our family. And so this cause is very passionate and dear to me. And I remember when you called me and you explained to me the vision and what Solevay was doing, I said, whoa, wait a minute. Let me get this clear. Do you mean to say, and I rehearsed it again, and it leapt in my spirit. I got excited because I saw that literally this has a potential to be a game changer in people's lives and in nonprofits, and especially in this economy when people are holding onto their purses and their wallets, they're not giving as much. We have an opportunity to really have an impact and to make a difference. So many reasons why I'm excited, but those just come to mind immediately.
Well, I know that tonight we're going to go through some things that hopefully will be able to provide value. And first thing I want to say is I think it's important for folks to note that, the question is, Stacy, should I go after nonprofits? I want to encourage you to think about this. The answer to that is no. Going after nonprofits sounds very self-fulfilling. I think it's important to note that there are folks that may look at, boy, if I go after nonprofits, that's a cash cow. I think that's the wrong reason to want to engage with a nonprofit organization. First off, nonprofit organizations have a lot of guidelines that they have to go through and be very protective. There's a lot of barriers to entry with nonprofit organizations. Many of them have conversations and even legal documents drawn up that says we cannot participate with a direct sales company. We cannot do anything that would provide benefit to individuals. It has to be completely nonprofit. And so the creativity around it is important, but more importantly is we just don't want people getting in their heart that that's the way to go to build Solivay Network. The best way you can build Solivay Networks is through relationships. And certainly the tens of thousands and now over 190,000 members that have joined Solivay, it's not happening because people are going after dealers or nonprofits. It's going after because ordinary people are talking to their friends and family, and they're connecting with people online. And we encourage you to keep that perspective. One of the examples I give you is that of, Ricardo Gloria. We were talking about how we've got a couple of folks in his group that are doing very, very well, that are dealers. But then there's a lot of people, actually even more, that are dealers that aren't doing well. The question is, what's the difference? Well, the difference is the dealers that are doing extraordinarily well in his group, in fact, number one on the leaderboards, is because they aren't just bringing people into their store and saying, hey, let me just offer you Solivay. They're actually sharing Solivay and then saying, hey, by the way, I'd love to buy you a drink Wednesday night. Come over and we're doing a social, and I'd love to tell you a little bit more about the vision. And they're connecting on a personal level with the people that are behind those counters and on the other side of those counters. And I think that's important even when we're talking about nonprofit organizations. You want it to still be based on relationships, and the visions of every nonprofit organization is very, very, very personal to the people who are at the top of that organization. So the first thing we want to talk about, John, is just some languaging on how to connect with these nonprofit organizations. We always say, listen and be the solution. What does that mean? And let's talk about a couple of languaging items on how to actually get that first connection. How do you engage with them in order to create the conversation about Solivay?
That's a great question, Stacy. You know, in my financial services practice, when I train my agents, I use the Apple theory. I'm not responsible necessarily for what I say as much as for what people hear. And the words that we use paint a picture. For example, if I tell you I had an apple today, 90% of the people will have in their mind a red apple when I really had a green apple. So if I know that 90% of the people are going to go down the road of a red apple, I talk about a green Granny Smith before I even mention the word apple. So, you know, I paint the correct picture in their mind because it's hard to unpaint a picture when somebody sees it. So when I'm approaching a nonprofit, as you had said, a lot of them have that we don't do direct sales, we don't participate in multi-level marketing. They've been approached by all the different companies coming through and wanting to, quote, as you know, to use their people to make money, and so at the end of the day, they've been turned off by it. They've been burned off. They've been burned by it. So we're in a position to where how we approach them is key and it's critical. It takes time in a relationship because we are powered by relationships. First of all, you know, you don't want to throw up and tell them everything all at once and give them the whole picture about from Sam's to Burger King to the cell phone. You know, when it's too much information.
I think we might have lost John there. John, we'll wait for you to pop back on. Feel free to text me when you get on. I'm going to go ahead and jump in. I know that we talked this afternoon about listening and being the solution and making sure that your presentation is solid when you are presenting to folks, and making sure that you are utilizing the skill of listening when you're talking. Now, what I'm going to share with you tonight is actually going to be topics and skills that you need to do, whether it's a nonprofit organization or whether it's your grandma. You need to make sure that you apply these things to your business practice. So number one, listen, 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 and be the solution. If somebody about a nonprofit organization is saying, you know, we are just in a place right now where we're so busy that we can't bring on another thing into our network, then you want to make sure that you're being the solution to say, you know, it's interesting. We've created an entire platform that handles all the details, all the paperwork, all the account billing, everything for you. All you have to do is give us your badge of logo, and we'll show you how simple it can be for people to tap into your network. I'm going to show you that here in just a moment. So the number 2 thing is avoid pitch phrases. What does that mean? For example, the words commissions, upline sponsor, downline, making money off of, getting your business up and running, help 3 people and they'll get free service. Those are things that are really wonderful, actually, for individuals, but they're not great for nonprofit organizations, because a nonprofit organization does not generally want to be aligned with anything that is making money for people. They want to provide value for people through their programs and resources and be seen as a clean nonprofit organization. So avoid those pitch phrases when you're speaking with them. I've heard people say, Stacy, I went through the pitch deck with the nonprofit organization. First off, you don't go through a pitch deck when you're talking to a nonprofit organization. You create conversation and communication, even though you may use slides. There's even things on the slides that you want to change up, and I'm going to show you that towards the end of this webinar. Okay, I've just received a text that we've got John back on with us, so let me just see if I can pull him back in.
Yes, I am, Stacy.
Okay, that is so much better. Excellent.
So yes, it's important to be critical to listen, because before I even go down the opportunity, I talk about the need for finances, how things are tight, and there is actually a company, a cell phone company, that wants to actually give back and help support nonprofits. And I said, really? How does that work? And I said, well, are you familiar with? And what I do is I create points of credibility before I even talk about what it is we're sharing. I say, first of all, it's a cell phone company. We have the former COO of Target, Louis Vuitton and Target, and the senior vice president of Walmart.com, and the former COO of T-Mobile. So I share some points of credibility to let them know, wow, this is a big company. And in their mind, they would never ever think that one of these individuals and leaders would do anything that is not credible. So that lends credibility to the company, to the concept of what we're doing. And then I say, for example, affiliate marketing is a model that previously has been used by large mass media outlets like Rush Limbaugh and Hannity. They promote, for example, Select Comfort Beds, and they have their own website and put Rush up or Hannity up in the box at the top. Well, that gives a discount to the consumer, but through the affiliate marketing model, through technology, that's able to give basically compensation back to the affiliate marketer. And that's something that's only available for mass media. Well, now with the day of social media, things have shifted. Have you heard of Facebook? Yes. Have you heard of a Groupon or Living Social? And people are checking in and liking, and people are communicating. The way people are communicating, doing business is changing right in front of us. And so what this company decided to do was, instead of spending $12 billion on advertisement like the top 4 companies have last year, they decided, you know what, we're going to just, we want to give it back to affiliate marketers. We want to give it back to the community. And so what they've done is they have an affiliate marketing model that is able to give back. For example, how many people do you think that are constituents of your organization have a cell phone? Well, all of them do. So in that way, what I've done is I've kind of created the association with big brands, with big names, with companies that they're familiar with models that they're familiar with. And so that kind of creates a era of familiarity, and they never even go down the road of, is this multi-level, is this direct sales? And so you kind of avoid that conversation altogether. So that approach, for me, has been successful, because I've painted a picture in people's minds of what we really are. We're a large company that wants to give back, and we're using social media and an affiliate marketing model in order to do that. And if the goal is, if the ministry has 54 families that wanted to switch their cell phone service, do you think there's 54 people that might want to do that? And we talk a little bit about their numbers and what they have and what they need. And, oh, yeah, 54, I think it would be easy. Well, we could create a residual income of $1,300 a month, and so they signed up today.
Well, I know that. I think what I'm about to show you, I think it'll help you guys see there are a number of things that you can do right now. And I'm going to show you a few more slides here, and then I'm going to get into actually how you can tweak up some slides that you may want to use in your presentation that will also help you in presenting the nonprofits to others. Now, number one, listen and be the solution. I think we've covered that. Number two, avoid pitch phrases. Make sure what you're saying that you're, again, considering who am I talking to? Make sure that in every setting, whether you're talking with nonprofit organizations or whether you're talking with women, guys, you should know, women, they love the language of security, value. Guys like speed, color, competition. So if you're selling a car to a woman, probably aren't going to talk as much about the engine and the size of the engine and the speed of the engine as you will the cup holders and the safety it provides for the family and the ability to take long trips with the family. You want to know who am I talking to? So make sure that you're avoiding phrases that would turn someone off. And leverage Solive's board and partnerships. Make sure that you know who is behind Solive. The names, the people, the accountability that we have right now, the millions and millions and millions of dollars that are invested by corporate executives, people in C-class levels of other major corporations that have had tremendous success. You want to know that information because that is important leverage information when questions are being asked of you. Use the national brand comparisons. One of the things that I do when I walk in or I'm having a conversation, a phone call just recently with a very, very large ministry. And out of the gate, they said, okay, tell us, what is this? We don't do any kind of direct sales. We don't do any kind of multi-level marketing. But we are always looking for ways to provide sustainability for our many ministries. We've got a woman's home, we've got a single parent home, we've got boys' homes, and they're always looking for sustainability beyond our partner base. And one of the things that I share when I share about Solive is I use the comparison of Pepsi and Coke. Many years ago, you guys might remember there was what I would call a boycott. And I don't really remember what it was that they were upset about. But I remember that Pepsi did a commercial or a run of commercials that the Baptist Convention was very, very upset about. And so they messaged the Baptist Convention, the members of the Baptist Convention, to stop drinking Pepsi and to show their allegiance that to the Baptist Convention and the fact that they don't like that kind of messaging, stop drinking Pepsi. Interestingly enough, they did a really good job because that represented a lot of people in the world that were drinking Pepsi, and they stood up. I know Disney went through a similar thing through some of the things that they started putting on their TV shows. And so these advocate groups or ministries or types of faiths began to bond together and say, let's support what we believe in. I 100% agree with that. I agree that if you believe passionately in a set of core values, stand up for them. The problem with that effort was that all they really did was hurt Pepsi. And they just took funds or profits away from a corporation. What would have been better would have been had they have been able to find an alternative corporation like Coca-Cola that would have stepped in the interim and said, you know what, for every 3 people that will stop drinking Pepsi and start drinking Coca-Cola, we will give your church $20 a month, every month, just for them switching to drink Coke instead of Pepsi. Well, guess what, people? That's where we're at. That's Solive. Solive is asking right now for nonprofit organizations to be compassionate about the stewardship, not only of their people, but the stewardship of the funds of the people they represent. And by providing solutions that give them an opportunity to provide sustainability and long-term wealth generation for their nonprofit, it gives them options that are better than a bake sale. It gives them options that are better than the door-to-door cookies. It gives them options that could provide true overall organic growth in something that has never happened historically before for nonprofit organizations. The platform that Solive has created in order to sustain this type of a conversation with a nonprofit organization is remarkable because there are a few things that are always at a deficit in nonprofits. Number one is a deficit of finances, a deficit of human resources, because usually they don't have enough money to pay as many people as they'd like to pay. So they're weak on really having people who can run these type of programs. And finally, they are usually in a deficit of new ideas that they can come up with that they didn't already do last year. They've already done the play, they've already done the fundraiser, they've already done the bake sale, they've already done the garage sale, they already did the cook-off, and now they're thinking, okay, what can we do different this year that we can actually sustain our programs? Solavei is a solution. Solavei is an opportunity for people like you and I to engage in the missions that we are most passionate about. And one of the things that I want to speak to you about tonight, and when we talk about supporting their vision, it's important that we remember why Solavei. Let's take it back to that conversation that we can have that could be very, very simple in the process of talking about Solavei. Why Solavei? Solavei is providing value to people. Solavei recognized that today, the number 2 household expenditure in the average American household, the biggest expenditure is that mobile phone. And when you think about what people are putting into mobile phones, some a little over $100 a month, some I've heard $250. The biggest I've heard just recently, single mom, 4 phones, $700 a month. It's time for a revolution. It's time that the same people that are providing the funds for these nonprofits, to stop wasting money on corporations that are wasting funds on advertising. We no longer need the fancy commercials. We, the people, we are built for a cause. We were built for a mission. We were built to take messages like Susan G. Komen, Race for the Cure, the Heart Foundation, all the different churches across America, the things that we are most passionate about. We are built to be the voice of this generation. So by saving money with $49 a month for every 3 people that maybe you and your contingency, or maybe you and your church, or maybe you and your partner base, for every 3 people that can say, you know what, not only do I want to save money, that's a win for me, but you're telling me there's a company that when 3 people save, that company is going to give back to the nonprofit of my choice if they're set up with Solavei? Well, that is a win-win-win proposition. And that's what we want to be able to offer. So I want to talk about a few creative solutions that I've seen out there that seem to be working very well for people engaging and talking to nonprofit leaders. Let's talk about, first off, how you can communicate this to people. Here's a way in a slide that I use when I'm talking to nonprofits, even if I'm doing it over a webinar long distance. When I get to this section, first off, I don't talk about direct sales. I don't talk about 4 trends converging. I just talk about the Pepsi example. I have already had a conversation and listened to them about what their needs are. And I talk about how Solavei could be a solution because Solavei is a company that's giving back. Now, personally, I happen to know the founder. He's my brother. I happen to know the founder's father, who was a minister. I happen to know the founder's grandfather, who was a missionary. And I know this company and its executive team. They're passionate about giving back. They are passionate to the point of pain to be able to make sure that this company gives back to this generation and sees an economic shift take place, not just for the people, but for the nonprofit organizations right now that are doing the most good in this country. We will not have an economic revolution. We'll not have a family revolution. We'll not have a marriage revolution if it's not for these nonprofit organizations doing what they do every single day. And so Solavei becomes a solution that when they are able to present it, when they are able to see that Pepsi Coke scenario, that it's as simple as getting people to switch their dollars from one corporation that's not doing the most good to a corporation that's built its entire foundation on giving back. Every 3 people that choose to switch to Solavei service and save, Solavei is going to give $20 a month to that nonprofit organization as long as they are signed with Solavei as a Solavei member or brand partner. But it gets better. For those 3 people, it's $20 every month. So in this scenario, you can see that would be $40 a month with just 6 people. As mentioned earlier, when we're talking to dealers, it's very simple for a dealer, a business owner of a phone store, a cell phone store, to see that, you mean I get 54 people on Solavei mobile service, and I'm making over $1,000 a month, that is a no-brainer. Well, imagine these nonprofit organizations that may have 50, 100, 1,000, maybe a few thousand, maybe thousands of people that are already all using cell phones. They're already, most of them, overspending. You're telling me that if I can encourage them to save money every month on their mobile phone, that this company named Solevay, for every 3 people that switch, are going to give me 20, and if I can get to 54, that's over $1,000 a month. Well, that right there, that's a game changer. And if they can begin to see that, it gets even better. Solevay recognizes that your member base, your partner base, those that are supporting your nonprofit, they're going to want to help you in this cause. So when you commission them to go tell their friends, here's how Solevay is going to keep giving back. When those people share Solevay with their friends and family and say, hey, keep getting involved in Solevay, because for every 3 people, Solevay's kicking it back. Well, for every 3 people, you're going to get an additional $10 a month when they share, and it's going to go to that nonprofit organization. Now, you guys can see very easily how that nonprofit organization could be you, but we're not talking about you right now. It's not in the conversation of a person. You want to put it in the conversation of it benefiting the nonprofit organization. And you can see when those people go out and get 3, that's an additional $10 a month every single month, as long as they stay on the service for that nonprofit organization. That is not bake sale money. That's not one-time quick fix fundraising. That is sustainability at its finest. And if we can continue to message this across the board in Solevay, we will begin to see that we have a solution not just for a few, but we have a solution that could create an absolute historical shift that our country so desperately needs right now. It truly is a win-win-win proposition. The people save money every month because we're helping them lower their cell phone bill. Solevay grows nationally, which gives us more leverage in the other things we're going to move into, which very soon you're going to see that we're going to move into other areas that will be equally as beneficial in raising funds and sustainability in the future. I do not talk about the retail program here because it clouds the issue. Right now, a nonprofit needs to see, and remember this phrase, write it down, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And right now, retail is coming, we know it, but it's a bird in the bush. Don't talk about something you can't execute upon today. It clouds the waters, especially when you're talking to nonprofit organizations. Make it simple. So simple. I know there's people right now marketing in Europe, marketing all over. I encourage you, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. We have 331 million people that use mobile phones. Can you imagine if you begin to help nonprofits help us reach those people so that not only you benefit, those of you that are listening to this webinar, but that somehow in the process you get a nonprofit organization involved so that funds can be given back to these people that are living their life every single day, hoping for the money to come in so they can reach one more person. People save money monthly. Solevay grows nationally. And the nonprofit organizations gain sustainability. When we really care about people, guys, I'm sitting here at my computer at a table and nobody's in the room with me. I'm moved with compassion for those of you who want to see this work for nonprofit organizations. I'm moved with compassion because it's what my family has lived by. That you can sacrifice in your life so that you can do good for others. And I truly believe that if you could stop right now, forget what you make out of this deal. Forget the fact that what I'm about to show you could do something really great for your life. If you could get the heart to see that Solevay can be a solution for a lot of people, maybe just saving a few bucks a month. But more importantly, maybe it could provide something phenomenal for other people's lives. And my goodness, I feel like I'm on a talk show now. I know that you guys are passionate about this, and I know that I'm not alone in my love for wanting to see Solevay represented properly. I want to see us do it right. If you're going to contact a nonprofit organization, do it for the right purposes. If you're listening to this, you're probably already a member. I want to show you something real quick.
So here we are. And John, I just want to say it's just been tremendous working with you on this. I know you have put many, many months of research into making sure that we create something that is a great platform for all of our nonprofits. I just appreciate your partnership.
Purpose Driven Sell was created to be a platform that is generic enough that it only talks about cell service. It does not talk about duplication and developing a network and a team. It's an idea that was created, and you know that we created empoweredliving.biz universally with no one's name on it so that everyone could have a training resource that they could go to as their own. Purpose Driven Sell is a concept that basically, when somebody goes to Purpose Driven Sell, it basically says this: it's sell service with a purpose. Did you know the number 2 biggest bill in the average American household is the mobile phone? Most people want to give more to their favorite charities, but they just feel squeezed by a lack of money to pay their own bill. Well, now there's a solution. With unlimited voice, text, and data on a nationwide 4G network for $49 a month, Solevay is providing a solution. Purpose Driven Sell is partnered with Solevay, a major carrier that is offering a savings plan of $49 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data on T-Mobile's nationwide 4G network. This helps people like you and I save money every month on one bill that is costing us most. But that's not all. They keep on giving. Solevay has committed to give back $20 for every 3 people that switch through the recommendation of one of the nonprofits listed in this site. To learn how you can turn your phone into a sustainable tool that supports the missions and charities that are the closest to your heart, click the Start button. If you guys can see this, I'm just taking you through it. When you click the Start button, it talks about switch, save, and give. Now, I encourage you guys, if you want to, I'm going to show you how you can use this for yourself. I'm also going to encourage you, if you want to use some of the terminology for yourself, go and grab it, use it. It's yours. Make the most out of it. Go change the world. Switch, save, and give. Solevay recognizes the need to empower the people to be the do-gooders in local communities. And rather than putting billions of dollars into advertising, they've decided to take their marketing budgets and put it back into the people and charities that are doing the most good for our nation every day. So how does it work? Well, for every 3 customers that switch to Solevay mobile service, $20 will be given every month to the nonprofit of those customers choosing. The more people we help make the switch, the more charities begin to see lasting, sustainable support for the programs that mean the most. Now, I'll let you guys know this is a test site right now, and it is not live. We're not sending this out except for you guys to utilize it for idea purposes. We're going to be we'll let you know and release it. We've used these icons as examples. Probably should not have done that for this call, but we didn't get them changed up. So we will show you guys the actual brand partners that we have on the next screen. But every 3 people that move into Solevay, $20 a month, whichever nonprofit they choose, it'll go into the nonprofit of their choice for every 3 that join through that nonprofit. Instead of fancy billboards and commercials, Solevay empowers the people to be the voice that carries their mission and brand to the marketplace. That is how they have the funds to give back $20 every month for every 3 customers that switch to Solevay mobile service. That makes the partnership with the people, Solevay, and nonprofits a real win-win opportunity. When you click on organizations, you'll see that already we've got organizations that have aligned with Purpose Driven Sell. Of course, this week we've had a number of others that have added to the list that we haven't gotten on here yet. But organizations, Purpose Driven Sell is proud to serve as a platform for nonprofit organizations to benefit from the value of Solevay's unique business model and offering. To support one of the organizations below and save on your mobile service with Solevay, just click on the charity of your choice. So you can see there's a number of charities already listed there. And down at the bottom, you can see if you have a nonprofit organization that you represent or want to recommend for the Purpose Driven Sell site, fill out the form below this page and one of our team leaders will contact you with the requirements and documents necessary to participate. All organizations must be a 501c nonprofit organization. Now, as you can see, these are nonprofit organizations that have been brought to Purpose Driven Sell by multiple leaders. You don't have to be in any specific organization if you want to see your nonprofit listed on this site. Obviously, they would be signed up in your group, so it's to the benefit of you if other people want to click on that site and support that nonprofit. We are opening this up for you to participate, and tonight to get ideas on how can we know that 2014, there will be an official nonprofit program. And I can tell you, I've heard many of the details on it. It is brilliant, but it's not going to come out till 2014. Remember, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. We want to now provide something for these nonprofit organizations that they can participate in fully right now and do it in such a way that it's in our already normal business flow. So you may have nonprofit organizations that you say, hey, I would like to see their icon on there. And when somebody clicks on it, let's just say we go to Acquire the Fire. And again, it's going to go to the Acquire the Fire coverage page where they would then enroll directly into that. Who brought Acquire to the Fire to the table is not really important to me. It's the fact that we want to see nonprofit organizations supported. And if this is a way for people to do it, we're excited to see that take place. Also on that, we have a page then that they can go to regarding Solevay that gives an offering of predominantly the mobile service. It doesn't talk about go get 3 friends and yours could be free. It's really focused on the nonprofit organizations. Solevay offers an alternative to high-priced mobile service plans and excessive advertising budgets by providing a solution that gives back and helps you save every month. The Solevay Savings Plan provides unlimited voice, text, and lightning fast data on a 4G nationwide for only $49 a month. We've taken some of the same content and verbiage off of the website with Solevay, but not all of it, so that it, again, stays focused on the organizations that are there. And we're going to be adding more things. I encourage you guys to take a look at it. Feel free to Facebook me or John with ideas, recommendations. I think one of the great things about us coming together as leaders like this is that we can collaborate on ideas to make best ideas that work for all. Tonight, if you're listening and you are not a member, I encourage you to get in, become a Solevay member, take the 1K challenge. Now, on empoweredliving.biz, we are going to be posting exactly where you now take that 1K challenge. You'll be able to get the 1, 2, 3 training, get in, get social, get free there. We encourage you to take it on that site so that you can see the tutorials that we've got listed there to help you get started, whether you are a nonprofit or whether you are an individual. There's a lot of things you can learn from that site. Get social, start sharing Solevay and become a part of that 1K club. And finally, get free. Free mobile services where we start, but obviously, as you can hear tonight, there is a world of ideas, of opportunities, and of platforms that we're going to be able to use in order to touch people's lives and make a difference in so many others. Tonight, I just want to say a big thank you to all of those who are playing in with the Empowered Living Network. Your ideas mean a lot to me and a lot to the leaders that are represented. Well, thank you everyone for attending tonight's webinar. This has been an Empowering You webinar put on by the Empowered Living Network. I want to encourage you tonight, if you have any questions, just go to our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Empowered Living Network. We're very excited that tonight we have had the privilege of talking to you about something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is how we can empower the lives of others with nonprofit organizations. I encourage you, get with the person that referred you to be on this webinar if you're just looking at Solevay for the first time. And remember, now is the time, this is the place, and you are the one that's going to help us start this revolution. My name is Stacey Wallace, and I am believing the best for you. Good night, everyone.